Listen!
Hello and welcome to Nintendo Vampire Chat, IGN's Nintendo podcast. This is a very spooky episode because, oh my gosh, guys, it's Halloween. My name is Casey DeFreitas, and I'm here today with Janet Garcia.
Hey.
Zach Ryan.
Hello.
And Per Snyder.
Oh, no.
We are all dressed up a little bit. Everyone, let's explain our costumes. Per.
I'm from Top Gun.
That's wrong.
No, I'm Kane from Alien. To be honest, my costume didn't arrive in time, so I had to improvise, and I had a facehugger lying around.
This is pretty good. I like it.
Can you even hear me? Here.
Yeah, no.
I can,
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
That's better. No,
That's better.
Per, you have to commit to the costume. You have to keep it on
Oh, I'm
your
sorry.
face the
I
whole
brought
time.
spaghetti for later, too.
Great. Traditional German Halloween candy.
Spaghetti.
Uncooked spaghetti.
Yep.
I'm dressed as Danger Zone.
I'm
That's it.
So much.
That's it. Danger Zone.
I'm a Charizard. Hello.
Yay. I am a Squid Kid from Splatoon 2.
Specifically.
Yes.
Not
Well,
Splatoon
check out
1.
that.
Yeah, I have a
Oh, no,
roller.
I said a
Ooh,
word.
You did a swear.
Oh my gosh.
You just swear like a minute in.
Janet, explain your roller test.
So this is a roller from Splatoon 2. So it's one of the main weapons in the game. There's variants of it. I went with the one that was a little bit more simplified. It's made out of PVC pipe. If you guys are watching, it's made out of PVC pipe. A big cardboard thing that I got from Home Depot, and then just some foam inside, some felt. That's basically it. And I used some of that caulking thing that seals up your windows, and that's pretty much what it's made out of. And some spray paint.
Technical marvel. Incredible.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to do this because I've always loved, I don't use the roller in the second game. I used it a lot in the first game, but it's a really fun item. I like how big and goofy the Splatoon weapons are. And it's convenient because I'm only 5 feet tall. So I'm about the size of the characters.
Yeah.
So it was not that hard to make an oversized item because I'm already small. As opposed to if a normal heighted person wanted to do this, it would have to be a lot larger.
I picked up the roller earlier and it looked like a regular size paint roller.
Yeah, it's true. I saw it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, most importantly, it's
Danger Zone.
Halloween.
Yes.
And you know what that means? That Luigi's Mansion 3 is out.
Oh.
Yay.
Yeah.
For your spooky game times.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion 3, which Janet played all the way through and finished.
We have to say here that we're very, very jealous.
Yeah,
Nintendo
'cause
has this,
none of us have been able to
Nintendo
play
has
it.
this awful release policy where we get our hands on time with the games basically the moment we finish NVC recording. So
Yeah.
might have to move the show to a different
We're
day or
thinking
not.
about it.
They send out typically it's one copy for review and one copy for wikis.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then occasionally we'll get extra copies for the office, and they usually typically go to NVC because we want to talk
Yeah.
about them on the show, but it's always after the fact. So I've only played the E3 demo.
Or
this
ideally
game.
the video team, this time,
Yeah.
not to be all giving away everything, but the video team didn't have their own copy, which ideally they also have a copy or several copies of whatever game is kind of hot right now so they can do video coverage. But so yeah, it was.
Sorry for the inside baseball, but
Yeah.
we asked Janet if we could play it, and she said no.
Right.
They didn't ask, but I would have said no because I was very busy with it. So I can't
busy.
even be upset.
So come on,
Incredibly
make us
busy.
jealous then. What do you got?
Yeah, it's really good. It's great. I love it. It's definitely the best of the franchise. I don't even think that's up for debate unless you're just super hardcore into the nostalgia of the first game. One thing that's really excited about this game is the fact that the levels are no longer singularly structured. So in Dark Moon, one of the biggest criticisms people had was that it was level based. So you'd go through a mansion and then the game would be all right, here's your score and here are your statistics. And a lot of people missed that slightly more open exploration of the first game. This game returns to that, which is really cool. So you still need to get each elevator button to go up this hotel and save your friends who are once again captured.
Mario?
Yes, Mario, Peach, Toad, and another Toad. There's
If I were Luigi, I would just leave them captured and start my own franchise. We don't need them.
Now it's his time.
But
really.
then
His time.
But then he
being in the
wouldn't have
spotlight.
as much to do. I also think he was kind of trapped in the mansion because in the beginning, or the hotel, because in the beginning they board up the hotel, but it's about 16 levels high, and all of them are themed differently. So one thing I really like about this game is that the hotel setting has lent itself to a lot more creativity in the level design. So it's no longer just your run of the mill. here's a bedroom and some drawers. Like there's those things too, but then there's also like a hotel shop and a fitness center, but also a like pyramid place and also a ghost boat and like really, really weird, surreal stuff that they wouldn't normally be able to do if it was kind of following a more traditional mansion structure. So yeah, I really enjoy it. I think the combat is really improved in this one. Some people might find it a little too easy, but I feel like the combat was never like meant to be hard. It was just clunky. So now you have like the suction shot, the burst move, the dark light's back as well, and you have slam, which is my favorite ability. Yeah. So I know you guys played the E3 like build, so you guys are familiar with that. But you can basically suck up a ghost and then slam it into other ghosts. You can also slam it into other objects. A bunch of stuff is destructible. The puzzles are really well designed. They're fairly simple, but they get progressively harder. There are a few that like I definitely had to stop and think about for a while. And if you're someone who's really into exploring, which I think a lot of Luigi's Mansion fans are, the gems are pretty challenging to find. Like on the way I played it, because I did it for the guide, is I played really slowly to try to get as much as I could my first run through. And I was still missing like about 30 gems at the end. I went back and like got all of them. So I've since 100% of the game. And some of those, there are, when does this air? Like
October 31st.
So yeah, it's fine. There are 6 per floor. That part was like embargoed during the review time, but there's 6 per floor. So there's like that times 16 floors, or actually I think there's 17 floors because I think there's 15 and then 2 basement floors.
Okay.
So there's a lot of gems. There's also hidden boos again.
How's the variety in general? Because like the original game suffered from the issue that it was very one track, right? It was a fun game, it was very short, and then there wasn't a lot of variety or a lot of progression. How do you feel about this one?
I think it's a lot more varied just because, as I mentioned before, the level design is just really unique and different and weird. Yeah. A few of like my criticisms of it are that there are a lot of bosses in this game, and that's fine. A lot of them are very playful and interestingly designed and set up in a fun way. Like there's a lot of personality in this game, but and hopefully this isn't like a glass shattering moment for people where they're like, I wouldn't have noticed if you didn't point it out. But since there's like 15, 16 plus bosses, you kind of start to notice that like, oh, this one also spins and gets tired, and then you stun them. Yeah. Oh, this one 3 floors later also spins and gets tired. So the variety in the boss battle specifically starts to kind of lose some of its cachet the further you go up, because you kind of feel like you've seen all the ways they have you use the vacuum and play with the environment, and they kind of just start rinsing and repeating and kind of reskinning it in a sense. Not to be dismissive to what they made, but it kind of lost some of its charm towards the end for me. But overall, yeah, I still really loved it. It was a great time. The collectibles were a fun challenge. And if you're someone that struggles with puzzles, there's also a hint system built into the game where you can call EGAD and he'll give you like a little hint. He also gives hints throughout the game. Listen. It's not as annoying as Dark Moon. Dark Moon, he would not stop calling you. And something that's also really cool about this is you have the option to turn off hints from EGAD. Okay. So like, if you really don't want him to say almost anything, you can just turn off those hints. And
that's really smart.
Yeah, and you can explore, because like otherwise...
So like if you turn the hints off, you still have the option to call him and ask for a hint?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so cool.
And this is something I especially noticed when like the first time I was playing through, I was going super slow, and you know, like the first objective might be like, go to EGAD's room to get his suitcase. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to explore. And he would keep saying like, hey, don't you know where you have to go? And that like annoyed me. So I turned it off, and then he stopped talking about it. He still does talk to you and like kind of prompt you along, but it's not nearly as like, hey, did you forget where you were going? Did you remember this? Did you try this? So I think it's a really great balance of difficulty, which Nintendo's always been pretty good at that.
Like, I wish every game had that. There are so many games like where you start, like especially towards the beginning. I wish that there was just an option that was like, have you ever played a video game before? And you could just turn off a bunch of the tutorial stuff, because it's like, I never ever need to be told like, use the right stick to control the camera.
You played Outer Worlds, right? It's like,
yeah,
duck under this log. I'm like, how many times have I ducked under a damn log? Stop it.
Yeah.
But that's good.
I have a question. Yes. So IGN gave the first one a 7 and gave Dark Moon, the second one, a 9.3. No, this one has an 8.3.
Yes.
You think this one is the best one, though?
Yes.
Different reviewers.
Yeah, different reviewers, of course. Keza McDonald, and then I think Matt Casablanca.
Matt Casablanca.
Did I pronounce that wrong?
Casamassina.
Why did I say Casablanca?
Casamassina. I like Casablanca
Jesus.
much better.
It's a better name.
I'm going to call
right?
it that now. That's awesome.
Yes.
I'm going off memory, okay? And then Ryan McCaffrey on our third one.
So, I mean, yeah, to Pear's point, like everybody has different tastes. Everybody has different like sentiment for a franchise, or in this case, characters. And like, Keza likes one certain type of game, so maybe she gave Luigi's Mansion a 7, and Matt Casamassina, obviously a Nintendo fanboy, so he's going to give it 9.3. Like, yeah, I mean,
the other way around.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's the other way around. Matt got a lot of flack. I remember that when the review went up, there were so many Nintendo fans
because he gave it a 7.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have given the first one a 7.
Yeah,
I thought I had my timing wrong. I thought one was here after the other. But.
No, Matt lived in the 1800s with.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about that too, like with the whole idea of like, oh, is this one's higher? But like, what does that mean? Especially when you start looking at a franchise in its entirety. But I think with Dark Moon, like, I'm not scoring Dark Moon or even thinking about Dark Moon when it came out. And when I first played it, I'm thinking about it now and having like talked to other people, thought about it, played other games. Like how Dark Moon ages isn't like as well as maybe when it first came out. Like when it first came out, I loved it, and I still love that game. I think it's a great game. But now having gotten some space from it, and then now having played this one, I really realize some of the things that were lacking in Dark Moon that this one does offer. It's also interesting, that idea that it went from like 7 to 9 to 8, because I also feel like that's kind of how the franchise was received. Like it was sort of like a cult classic for some people. Like some people really loved it, and then some people were like, it's fine, it's good, but whatever. And then when Dark Moon came out, it was kind of like everyone that was like, oh my God, I love Luigi's Mansion, finally had something to rally around. And now this is kind of like in an interesting spot, because you do have those longtime fans, but you also have people that are like, oh, what's this? I have a Switch. I like Nintendo games. Maybe I should pick this up. So it kind of, in a sense, makes sense that it had that like low, high, and then kind of a middle again.
Historically, I mean, the other thing that the original Luigi's Mansion had going against it is it was the Mario game for the platform it launched on, right? Like, so there were high expectations because Mario games are usually stellar and, everybody's favorite games for a platform. Here comes a platform with the Luigi's Mansion game where the character can't jump, it's different, and it's very short. That's a very short game, like more like a Portal, but without the payoff of a Portal. No happy song at the end, just some bad Mario.
Well, Nintendo wanted to make a Resident Evil game when they made Luigi's Mansion. You know what I mean? They felt like they were missing out on like a very
short Resident
specific type of game. Move here, find this to unlock this.
And that's why I think like getting a Luigi's Mansion now is such perfect timing. We've had a Mario game, we had a Zelda game, we've explored some of the other franchises, and so I think this is just nice to have this game. And watching you play some of the levels, I love the variety. I love the mechanics. There are lots more, a lot of cool things to the vacuuming and the puzzle gameplay with Gooigi. So
yeah, I would say too, just because I know we're probably gonna wrap up the segment at this point, but the co-op, I only played a little bit of it co-op. I played some of it with my brother when I was on vacation, and it worked pretty well. Like one thing that's nice is a lot of times in these co-op moments where it's like you have your main character and like a character we made so that you could play co-op. You have these situations where you feel like it's forced and awkward, but I feel like it's pretty well balanced. Gooigi has way lower health than Luigi, but his health is always regenerating. So even though he only has 25 versus like 99, 100 health, it comes back like immediately. And I think playing alone, it's totally fine. Like it just feels, because a lot of times when you're using Gooigi, it's just for the puzzle solving. So it doesn't feel like I have to fight using two characters at once. There are like a few moments in the game where it did feel a little difficult switching between the two, but it was literally like 1 or 2 out of the whole thing. The whole game takes about 15 hours or so. Like me and Ryan finished it in about 15 hours. And I did my 100% completion, which means beating the game, getting all the booze and getting all the gems. Took me, I think, 25 or 27 hours.
I keep hearing booze every time you... Gosh.
Ghost booze. But yeah.
Yes.
But you can also do that as well if you are so inclined and of age. But yeah, so it's See, I thought she a medium.
She totally gets it.
It's like a medium-sized game, but if you want something a little bit deeper, there's definitely that space, especially if you are, doing it on your own or without a guide. But if you do want to do it with a guide, we have a guide that I'm writing.
A really wonderful guide, and you should definitely go look at it because Jan has been working very hard on it. Please,
I'm very tired.
Read her work.
I've played a lot of Luigi.
I love Luigi's Mansion. I love Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and I'm very excited to play this third game. Unlocks tonight at 9:00, just in time for the spooky time. I can't wait.
Spooky.
I'm flying to London on Monday, and I need something for the long flight.
Perfect. What about Dragon Quest? I know you didn't finish that.
I still have that with me.
I know you didn't finish it.
No,
I didn't finish it either. I've only played like five hours since the last time.
Yeah,
That's got some other games, but
I still only have like an hour and a half into that game.
It's good. Please play more.
I know. I would like.
Got the good stuff yet.
I would like to play more.
Yeah.
you haven't even met Sylvando.
No, I started playing. I've been putting in like an hour into a bunch of new games before deciding which one to stick with, and I haven't quite chosen
That's
which
a good
one
way
to
to do
stick
it,
with
though.
yet.
I've had hard time doing that.
Do you guys get like gamer guilt where you feel like you have to stick with a game if you started it?
Yes.
I have so much
Yeah.
guilt. I have guilt for everything. I have like
it's
game
with-
continue,
Just a general like Catholic guilt.
game
like,
continue guilt. Actually, was raised Catholic,
You should.
but I'm no longer Catholic. No offense to anyone that's Catholic, but yeah, like not finishing games, not playing enough games, not trying enough games, not like it's. It's just I'm just
well,
real. with guilt.
sometimes I'll go back and like start a game that I've already played because I'm like, I just want to play this game again.
I know.
And then I get like a couple hours into it. And I'm like, why am I doing this instead of playing something new? And like,
Spider-Man PS4 is like that for me.
know.
And then I still have Mass Effect 4
But I
sitting
still-
there. I'm
I still like-
I gotta play Mass Effect.
I still like
5.
to boot up Spider-Man every so often just to like swing through the city
It's
just for
so
that
fun.
locomotion because it's so fun. But yeah,
easier.
But that's not a Nintendo game, so you're not allowed to revisit
touche.
it.
Sorry.
So I was talking about Luigi's Mansion 3 out now, because it's Halloween. We hope you're all having a great Halloween.
Too spooky.
No, not too spooky. I don't think Luigi's Mansion is that spooky.
Are there any moments
Terrifying.
like
Did you guys think the first one was kind of spooky?
Well,
It was spooky. Well,
Maybe
I was
mean,
younger, so it's a little
I
hard to
wasn't
tell.
Yeah.
like you guys were a lot younger than
Baby
than
children.
we
I was
a
were. Yeah,
child.
because that came out in what 2000, 2001.
Yep. When I was in first grade.
I was almost
2001.
40.
Oh my god!
I was a junior in high school. You were almost 40. That math doesn't check out.
Something like that. But
was
are there
just
any
starting
scary
middle
moments?
school.
Like, do parents have to worry now, right?
No, I
It's
don't
like
think
cartoony.
so. There was literally like
I mean, the dog's already dead. So.
one or two things where I was like, "Oh my," but nothing like that scared me.
Can you?
I would
she's like, oh my.
I know she's just like playing through the game like
That is
oh my.
exactly how I play. It's that deadpan. But yeah, there was like a few moments that slightly startled me, but nothing that like jump scare or anything like that. It's pretty tame in that regard, I would say.
Okay.
And it feels less scary than the other ones. But like I said, maybe I was just younger because I was younger. So
All right.
yeah.
That could be it. So that was Luigi's Mansion 3. Now let's move on to some news.
Okay, some news.
So the Halo 4 and 5 artist joins the Metroid Prime 4 team. So it's Kyle Heffley. He's a senior character modeler for, I keep just saying names wrong today. That's just
Casey's
gonna be my
never seen
MO
the name
today.
Kyle before.
Kylie. Kylie is
Sometimes you just see that one letter and you're like, I don't need to see the rest of this. I got it. I've
He
been
only
there.
knows names like Zara Groth,
yeah. The important names.
Dragonor.
Yeah. Spell Bowden. Important names.
Yep.
Kyle was a senior character modeler for Halo 4 and 5, including Master Chief's design in Halo 5, and Will acted as the lead character artist for, and he will act as the character artist for Prime 4.
There you go.
That's pretty
Hey,
cool.
so
And Retro is still hiring for this game.
this game's never coming out. Yo, if they're hiring
coming
a
out.
That's the biggest
character artist
takeaway,
now,
right?
like, this game is never coming out. Like,
coming out just super late.
That can mean that
Super
they
late.
just need more oomph on the team. They need more work, or one of the lead character designers is moving to a different project. Maybe they've got something else that they're wrapping up or starting, or it could mean that somebody's getting ready to leave. So lots of different options that are different from they haven't started yet, and they're just getting their character artist, and now he's going to start designing.
okay, but
Samus.
have you considered
Yeah.
that this game's never coming out?
No, it will come out.
All right.
The thought has crossed my mind.
First of all, it's cool that I think Retro lost a couple of talented people to 343, and so
Yeah.
now we're
getting them.
reverse. Like,
Yeah.
the last Halo was the most Metroid like looks wise,
So
design wise.
Yeah,
yeah. It's
and then
kinda fun.
didn't a bunch of that team also go to what did they made that game about the girl in the desert with the robot pals?
Oh, Recore.
Recore,
Yeah.
which underrated game. I thought that game was pretty good. Yeah, I thought.
haven't
Well,
played it.
we
It had
gave
some
it like-
problems.
we gave it like a
Yep.
7. We gave it like a 7, and I feel like that's right on the money. But I feel like the general sentiment is that people thought it was like much worse.
think-
but that game has a lot
think it was
of Metroid
definitely-
DNA.
I think it
in
was okay.
Not unlike Samus.
I think it was just okay. Though I think Recore 2, I'm there because I feel like that could have been a great game, but it was just okay.
Recore 2, fact,
lower.
will come out before Metroid.
I can't wait for it. Recore had
We're
so much
writing that
potential.
down.
Recore,
Okay.
Recore
record.
broke my
Prediction.
heart. I could not deal with it. It
At least somebody
really
keep
rough.
tabs on Zach's
No,
various
I
predictions.
yes.
look. Obviously, like the original Metroid Prime is one of my favorite, like probably top 5 favorite games of all time. And I desperately want Metroid Prime 4 to come out. And I'm really, really hoping that all this news about, people being hired and moved around and, now Retro's like hiring for these other positions and stuff. Like, I'm hoping that means that they have a bunch of it done and just need these people to come in and bolster like, more of their efforts. But something about the way that they're rolling out this information leads me to believe that they're still very, very early on.
I don't know. I feel like, Retro worked on 3 Metroid Prime games, and I feel like it's not that when they got the franchise back that they started to think about this franchise. Like, you can't, that's their baby, right? They defined Metroid for the new generation effectively. I bet there are lots of ideas, lots of scribbles on napkins, lots of concepts for where games
Yes, but napkins do not a video game make, sir.
No, but like a lot of the
start.
talent from the original games is still there and is working on this game. So I wouldn't write this one off as being that far off, but it's obviously not.
Okay, give us a date.
I think it won't be next Christmas. I think it'll be March of 2021.
I was also going to say 2021.
I'm going like 2022, 23,
Wow.
24,
That'll be
25.
the
I think
That'll be like the Switch 3, yeah.
I
I think it'll Switch 3 launch title. Here we go. Metroid 4. Metroid 4.
We don't really believe
Christmas
that
of
it will be the Switch
2021.
3.
I think it's really far off, but that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing really anyone can do about
We need
that.
to have the trilogy first.
And I think it's
Right?
clear that they really care about getting this right. Doesn't mean they will get it right, but it's clear that, they could have just tried to roll with what they had and, retune it, but they're like, no, we're just throw it all out, start from scratch. And I think it takes a lot of like creative courage to be like, this is not up to par and we're doing it again because we're going to do it right. And I respect that.
Retro hasn't made a bad game, so until they make one.
Well, then statistically, it becomes even more likely that it's on the way.
So, in other news, the PS4 is now officially outsold the Wii with 102.8 million.
We
passing
thought
the
it
Wii's
was
101.6 million.
We thought it was impossible. We thought nobody would do it. We thought that they were untouchable. And now, lo and behold, Sony's a little machine that could.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, you have to concede that there are more hardware iterations in play now. So somebody who had a PS4 may have upgraded to a PS4 Pro, and the same is obviously happening with the Xbox. But the same thing is true for some of the other devices on the list. If you include handheld consoles, PS4 is at number 4. Right behind the Game Boy and the DS, and they're only really on the list with 154 million, 118 million because they iterated on the hardware. Game Boy to Game Boy Color. Game Boy
really good
Advance is
insight.
separate, yeah. But that's impressive. The Wii seemed like such a huge success from a hardware sales perspective. It actually suffered versus the PS4 or the PS2 in software attached later, right? People did get tired of playing Wii games, and they used
their
it
wrists
as
started
no,
hurting.
they used it, that's right, physically.
At the
But they use it as a Netflix machine later.
Yeah, my parents still have a Wii, and it's just strictly for Netflix. My parents also still get discs delivered, which I didn't know was a thing.
Oh,
From Netflix?
what?
By the way,
But they discontinued that part. That's crazy.
Or they did like until pretty recently.
That's crazy. By the way, the Switch is number 15 on the list of best-selling consoles if you include the handheld devices, with 36 million. However, right as we're speaking, there is a press conference in Japan where they'll announce their new fiscal reports, the results. And so we'll get new install numbers for all of their systems out of that. So it's probably jumped up a couple of numbers.
What if they get on the phone? What if they get on the phone and say that they've sold 124 million units since their last report, and then all of a sudden switch right to number
I
one?
will eat this face hugger. But
Don't make promises like that.
I can.
You heard
I
it
can
here
safely
first.
Make that promise, but it is possible, that the press announcement tomorrow will be that the Switch surpassed the Xbox One in total sales. Which, it's been out
That
for
wouldn't
2
surprise
years.
me.
Okay.
We were getting close. Microsoft hasn't disclosed a public number, but with
They're the only ones that
NPD
don't.
leaks,
Yeah,
we kind of have an
sucks.
idea.
Yeah, I wish that they would, but I kind of understand why they're not.
It's not to their advantage.
No.
And by the way, I love my Xbox One X. It is the best console right now on the market.
You love Xbox One X?
Yeah, I love
Name 3 Xbox games.
Well, I play all my
Wow.
party games on.
Couldn't even name
See?
one.
Well, I'm a Forza guy, so obviously I can name more
Forza.
than
Forza 2.
Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon's real good.
No, but I play Red Dead, I play Witcher, I play all these games on the Xbox One.
See you on Unlocked Pair.
Yeah, and I have a PS4 too and love it too. But this is about Nintendo.
Yep.
True.
Yeah. And back in the day,
Charizard's looking at me all angry.
I do think sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it felt like when the Wii was out, everyone had a Wii. I mean, even people in my family who otherwise never had game systems had a Wii. And I don't know, maybe I'm just not as connected, but I don't feel that way with the PS4, but maybe it's because of what Pear was saying.
Ones,
Yeah.
Is that people are upgrading.
Yeah.
I think the thing too is like
Brian Altano owns 5 Switches. So.
that's true.
Wow.
He's carrying the team. We got to start pulling our weight.
Yeah. We gotta buy more
He's beating us by like 4 Switches. I think it's just that like the PS4 isn't as much of a cultural phenomenon because even just talking to people in the office, like most people have a PS4, but not everyone has an Xbox One, which I know we've discussed here and probably like on all our shows at some point. But yeah, that's the thing. Like the Wii was like in your face everywhere, like on, you know, and Nintendo's like really good at having like those very pop culture, like TV spots and promotionals and things. Like they're just out and about more. And the Wii was just like such a huge thing.
To
an
extent, I think that the PlayStation 4 and to some extent the Xbox One and the Switch owe some of their modern success to the Wii because the Wii did a thing that no console before it had done in that it introduced an entirely new demographic of people to the medium of video games, right? Like there are people that just did not care about video games at all that got sort of initiated through playing on the Wii because of the simplified control systems. But then you also had like a whole group of lapsed gamers that were reintroduced to games. It was like, oh yeah, these are still great. And then, you know, bought successive consoles to the Wii. So I think, you know, there is something to be said about the cultural impact, like you were saying, of the Wii, because it just like ushered in a ton of new gamers sort of backdoor. But yeah.
The funny thing is always looking at console install numbers. And obviously it's good news that the PS4 passed 100 million units because it shows that all the predictions of console gaming dying amidst mobile gaming and PC gaming are not true. But, you know, the install base for PCs is a little higher. They'll have to work another 100 years before they can catch up to that 2 billion or whatever it is.
All right. I'll see you then.
Of gaming machines. Yep.
So real quick,
I will eat this plushie.
I'll eat all the plushies.
Sounds like a bad time. I just wanted to mention real quick that our Joe Scrubbles interviewed Reggie. Our Joe Scrubbles.
Our Joe.
Yeah.
Our Joe. Our UK Joe. He interviewed Reggie Fils-Aimé, and you can read that interview on IGN.com right now. And I also just wanted to go over real quick that Pokemon Sword and Shield won't support cloud saves, just like, I don't know, I kind of assumed that because Let's Go didn't. And yeah.
Anti-duplication.
That's all it is.
They
You'll
probably
still
tested it and couldn't get it.
Yeah, you can still transfer your saves if you transfer your entire account to a different Switch, but you're not going to be able to have your Switch Lite and your regular Switch and just seamlessly move it back and forth. It's going to have to live on one Switch to be convenient. And lastly, so a couple of months ago, we spoke briefly about how EA said that they weren't interested in bringing The Sims to Switch because their games haven't performed well. And recently in an interview with Game Informer, EA said, "We invested with FIFA. We had good success there. I love that we have such a great global reach and global presence on that platform with that game. We are absolutely looking at more Switch games in our portfolio, so more to come on that. We're not going to announce anything as of yet, but it is absolutely a platform we are looking at for some of our more successful games."
But so we got into it on our internal Slack channels. We have a Nintendo voice chat Slack channel where we talk about all things Nintendo, kind of prepping for the show. And we sort of got into this whole conversation because of EA's comments about The Sims and how they were sort of unwilling to bring The Sims to the Switch, right? And Miranda was saying, well, The Sims is like best played on the PC, but Tom and I were talking about how like we've played The Sims on console and have loved The Sims like sort of wherever. It just seems crazy to me that EA, you know, especially now that they're talking about bringing some of their back catalog out on different platforms, like they're missing out on huge sums of money by not taking the Switch into consideration for things like a potential Mass Effect trilogy or a potential Dead Space trilogy, or, you know, like these remasters and stuff that have performed so well for other franchises, like
or something new. I mean, like they've supported some indie devs to, you know, publish some indie games and give them wider.
Unravel too.
Why are you so mean to me?
No, fair.
Oh, I see.
That was the game.
And I feel like there are games out there looking for a little bit of help to get done. I also think that they could find an amazing indie dev to do a unique Sims game for the Switch. Fair yourself.
Ah.
Yeah. Imagine they did a 16-bit looking Sims edition, Sims 90s or something. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but like what I don't want to see are these half-assed ports. Like,
Wow.
quite frankly.
The FIFA port's bad.
Yeah.
I don't mind if they bring back some of their oldies but goodies from the last
They
gens.
would make $1 bajillion if they put the 3 Mass Effect games on Switch.
Really? You think
Oh,
so?
God. Are you
Where are
kidding?
those numbers coming from?
Huh? Right off the old brain grapes, baby.
I'm with Brian too. Like he said he wanted Dead Space, and I think bringing Dead Space to the Switch around Halloween would have been awesome.
Yeah.
That would
Dead
be-
Space is
that
so
would be-
good.
Yeah, that would be good.
Necromorphs.
Remember the Wii Dead Space where
where you're like
point and shooter? Yeah.
That was a good game.
pretty good, yeah.
That was really fun.
But yeah, I'm with Pear. I definitely want to see. They've already shown some support with their EA Originals lineup coming to Switch, and I want to see more of those EA Originals on Switch because I love EA Originals. It's like one of my favorite things that EA does. They're not always good or even great games, or flip those, but like a lot of times they are like worth checking out. Like I loved Unravel. I loved Unravel 2. I want to keep seeing like what they come up with.
Or like just go back to the old classics when EA used to make these like lavish big kind of PC boxes with the creator's signature on them, like Mail Order Monsters Time. Like go back to your classics and re-release them. Like honestly, that'll cost them like $19 to port all that stuff. Put some cool documentary stuff on it and put it out there and see what happens. Certainly worked for Capcom. And then Plants vs. Zombies obviously is coming.
Yeah, how is there not Plants vs. Zombie games on the Switch? Whew,
I think
dang.
that's been the biggest question. So
I mean, you laugh, but like at every award show or every like convention this summer, especially Gamescom, like people were only interested in Plants vs. Zombies.
no, I was
crazy.
surprised about that at Gamescom.
Like everybody was like, "Where's Plants vs. Zombies? Why isn't it
Because
here?"
there was a rumor that it would be shown, so they kept on badgering everyone.
You mad?
great.
It wasn't very, and by the way, we tried at Gamescom. We talked to EA and we're like, why can't we? We had already gotten footage for the game under embargo and we couldn't show it, and we were badgering them the whole time to let us reveal it on the Gamescom stream.
Crazy.
They wouldn't let us.
For our whole stream, people in chat
Just
were
like spamming the chat with
Yeah.
like
We
Plants
try.
vs. Zombies. Yeah.
We try to bring you plants and zombies.
That's about it for news this week. But there
Not a
are,
lot.
not a whole lot. There's also not a whole lot of games coming out this week. We already talked about Luigi's Mansion.
Yay.
There's another super spooky game out today called Agony, but we gave that a 4 out of 10. And
Spooky because it's so bad.
it's also rated M for mature because it is incredibly gory and kind of disgusting. It's a survival horror set in hell where you are a lost soul and have to traverse hell.
That all sounds
and
cool.
there's blood everywhere and
Oh yeah, I
a
remember
bunch of
this
stuff
game.
that's rated M that I'm not going to describe.
Why
So,
doesn't EA bring Dante's Inferno to the Switch?
Yeah, that's right.
it's better than Agony, right?
Yeah, supposedly.
I don't know. I also have not played Agony. I heard that it is a really good as far as its atmospheric and graphics go, but as far as gameplay, it can be a little bit monotonous and just
Yeah, and I heard a
Yes.
lot of the stuff in there was kind of like almost for shock value, and was just
Yes.
like, and by like disgusting, we mean like messed up stuff, not like, oh, it's super gory and gross. So not like Doom disgusting, like actually like some dark twisted stuff. So it's just in there.
Yep. Just
very
the set
spooky.
pieces.
Just as an
Halloween.
FYI.
Very, very spooky and gross. There's also an indie game that's been out on PC and iOS for a while called Yuri. It's a platform game made by 2 people. It's all hand-drawn art. It's very cute. It's also impossible to Google because of its name. So type in Nintendo. It's YURI. Actually, I don't know. I can't recommend Google. I Googled it just like, oh, Yuri game. And I'm like, why did I do that?
You got a lot of Russian men
Gosh, yep. Yeah.
and astronauts.
No, I got the anime. Yuri, yeah, nice. It was fine.
Oh,
No.
I don't know about that.
Anyway, there are also a couple of other games out this week, but nothing of note. I don't know if you guys saw anything out that,
No.
Not really.
Yeah,
Looking forward to After Party coming to Switch, but it's not
Yep.
on Switch yet.
Like that.
So.
True. Yeah.
So there is one more game I forgot. Disney Classic Games, Aladdin and the Lion King came out.
Oh yeah, the physical
yeah.
editions came out too. Yeah.
And that came out on the 29th, and I played some of The Lion King. You
I
guys
watched Casey play.
So, look, I played The Lion King on Super Nintendo when I was a kid, and I loved this game, and I beat it. And I was like, oh, this is fine. Like, I can totally do this. And remembered which monkeys I had to roar at and where the secret bugs are, so you can get the mini game. Yeah, I guess not roar, but meow menacingly. And man, that game's really hard. I have no idea how I beat that as a kid.
To be clear,
it's such a hard
Casey
game.
wasn't struggling. She was doing really well in the most horrible level ever made in a video game.
With the
second
I just
one.
can't wait to be king.
Yeah.
of the
that
jumpy.
level.
Because it's like there are one-ups there for a reason because they know you're gonna fall into the same hole because you can't understand where that damn lion can land.
Yeah, no, it's like it's like, oh, I'm totally gonna grab onto this tail, and then he just doesn't, and then he falls into the water and drowns.
Yeah.
Oh no, flashbacks.
But it's really beautiful.
It's so
it still
pretty.
holds up. The art was always really good, but Aladdin obviously is the better game.
Aladdin is a great game.
I actually never played Aladdin.
Aladdin is awesome.
But
Either one?
So
So good.
Aladdin, they only included the Sega version of
Yeah,
Aladdin and
that's
not
true.
the Super Nintendo. At
Yeah,
first.
it's a whole deal because both of those games were made by Virgin Interactive one versions, and then there was also a version made by Capcom for Aladdin.
funny.
And so this particular package is just the Virgin Interactive games, and those are the lesser of those two.
Okay.
So,
Well, there's a heated debate about which one's better. Like there are a lot of people who say the Genesis version.
well, the Genesis version
is
has like
prettier.
crazier animations. Yeah, it's
gorgeous.
beautiful.
I always felt that the Shinji Mikami's Aladdin is a little better. It's a better game overall and has more interest.
Shinji Mikami's Aladdin sounds terrifying.
Yeah,
But
that's what it is.
That's weird because the Nintendo version of The Lion King looks and sounds way better than the Sega version.
Yeah.
I don't know,
All right.
but I'll have to I'll check out Aladdin because I only played Lion
Aladdin's
King
so
and I
good.
loved it.
It's a good game.
You can jump on a camel and then they spit at your enemies.
And there are a few new features with this classic edition. You can basically watch someone play the game in a perfect run and then just jump in and play whenever you want. So if you want to skip the second level of The Lion King, which is the worst level in the entire game,
It might be the worst level in gaming ever.
Yeah, no, that level is
I'd read that list.
Yep.
the worst levels in game. Okay, this is
Get
definitely
Lucy on the
number one.
phone.
Yep.
Number one worst. So that's about all for games out this week. What are you guys playing?
Perry, we'll start on your
Well,
end.
I live in Marin County, which
no.
which is north of San Francisco, and we didn't have electricity for a while. So thank goodness for the Switch.
Is it back?
It is back as of last night. So we were out since Saturday, from Saturday to Wednesday, basically. You had no electricity whatsoever. And then it was the entire county. So you couldn't go to a store and buy ice to save anything in the fridge or freezer either. You had
the
to
cell
drive into
towers
the
are
city,
off
and then
too, right?
every Safeway in San Francisco was also sold out of ice because my Marin brethren were invading too. So it was, and cold showers for everybody, of course, who doesn't have a tank water heater.
I want to take this opportunity to say deprivatize PG&E. Thank you.
Yeah, well, they're heavily regulated, so California takes some blame in that whole kerfuffle as well. But obviously, they turned off electricity because the infrastructure is so bad. They didn't want to they didn't want to spark any of the power lines in wooded areas and set the world on fire. And California was already burning, so
I live nowhere near the fires. I don't think where I live would catch on fire.
Yep.
And we also got a notice that we may have our power turned off.
and
Yeah, in the East Bay.
I don't want to say
Sure.
where I live.
where I live, there was no wind, and we were still in a high wind hazard zone. So obviously, not amazing planning, but thank you, Switch, for existing because obviously none of my other consoles worked. And I don't have a fancy Tesla Powerwall or generator or anything like that. So I booted up the Switch. The only thing that's horrible is once I had these, I was thinking like, oh, if my one Switch is out and I have no more recharge power, I can just jump to my other Switch. But because of DRM, I couldn't sign into the internet.
Yep.
So I can't actually continue playing my game.
Yep.
But I played Return of the Obra Dinn almost the entire time. Tom talked about that game in the past. I always ignore Tom when he recommends games because they're always like artsy little like bow tie
Tom games,
and
yeah.
stuff. They're
Artsy
Tom
little
games.
bow tie games.
Artsy little bow tie games.
That game
Look,
is
Tom's an
so
artsy little
good.
bow tie man.
I love that game so much.
Yeah, Obra Dinn is really great. I haven't
is-
played it yet on Switch, but I loved it.
The graphics are very
last year.
stylized, like black and white, but the game is so cool. It is a bit spooky in that you investigate this ship from the 1800s where everybody's dead, and you have a crew manifest, and they're dead bodies like bones everywhere, and you have to figure out who's who and piece together the story as you kind of rewatch and and hear some of the scenes. And like the way you figure out which sailor is what person is to look at their uniforms, is to compare tattoos, is to see like, you know, where they stand in relation to other characters, or
It's actually very important.
or how they die, or what accents they have. So very, very cool game. I can only recommend it. It's a quick game. Think like 5-6 hours.
Also
Yeah,
a really
I really
good
love Oberdin.
Halloween game. I think that's what I'm going to do on Halloween. I'm just going to hang out in a costume and play Oberdin.
Yeah, really enjoyable. I wanted to play.
I'm very lame, Zach. Stop
Weird.
looking at me like
I wanted
that.
to play Ring Fit Adventure,
sounds
but
fun.
I couldn't play that on a tiny screen because I can't read the words
Yeah.
from far away. Yeah,
It's hard.
So sorry. I
It's
couldn't
okay.
send you any workout points or anything because I didn't have the internet.
We forgive you. I haven't sent workout points to anyone. I should start
Haven't
doing
thanks
that.
a lot.
I started doing that.
Jan
I
and
sent mine to
yeah.
Brian. Brian's like, what?
Jan and I are still playing Ring Fit Adventure.
Yes.
We're both on the third world and have challenged each other. Actually, Janet challenged me in some stuff. We should do more mini games.
Yeah, the mini games are really fun. The names are
They're so
I don't
silly.
the comment section, but yeah, there's this game called Thigh Rider. Let's move on. It's called Thigh Rider.
Danger Zone.
This is an E for everyone game. Okay, regular
But
game.
in this game, you have here. Explain.
you take the ring con.
Gifts.
Take the ring con and you put it between your thighs, and then you squeeze your thighs together
While sitting down.
Yes, to like lift a cart. And then how the minigame works is like a little car is like driving along, and you want to jump and collect all the coins. So you need to like squeeze your legs together to like lift the car up. And then like if you squeeze for a long time, it'll like hold it, kind of like a jump that's like a hover jump that's like held. And you're just trying to get all the coins, but there's also bombs along the track. So it's kind of this like the classic risk reward in like it's essentially a platformer, but that you play with your thighs. So I challenged Casey to this thigh platformer, and she beat me in the thigh platformer. 'Cause Casey has stronger thighs than me, I guess is what I learned today. And she's better at hunting monsters. So I feel like I can't win at any games against Casey. She can also dance better than me. Yeah.
But
Learn all these new things.
my cardio and endurance is awful. So you pick an endurance game, and I
we will play a less
Or just
sexual
race.
sounding game next time so that we don't have to talk about Thigh Rider. But in all seriousness, the minigames are really fun and really creative. Like they have one that's a squat game where you just like do a squat to jump, like your avatar will jump and you're trying to collect coins. Most of them are collecting coins based. You have other ones like there's a really challenging one that I think works out like your arms and your shoulders where you're like parachuting down and you need to like lean. So it's kind of like an ab arm shoulder
yeah.
workout.
Like obliques too, right?
Yeah, and I think you need to, like when you open up the ring con, like pull on it, it'll like pull out the character's parachute, and then when you like release, it'll just like you'll fall quicker, and you're trying to like get more points. And on that one, you can have like a friends list and a worldwide list, and it refreshes weekly, which is kind of cool because it's pretty much encouraging you to continue to like keep re-challenging it because the leaderboard resets over and over again. And yeah, so I thought the mini games were like super creative. I was not expecting them to be that fun.
think my favorite mini game so far is the one where you have to smack the robots and you hold the ring.
yeah.
And you push in to push in and
Oh,
then
yeah,
out
that
to
one
go
is
out.
cool.
Yeah.
But it's like an internal ring of robots and external, and you're
Even though I didn't like the game that much, it kind of reminded me of ARMS, like the kind of ARMS mini games where you'd be like punching out. Yeah, they're just really creative and well done. Like I haven't been on to talk about Ring Fit Adventure yet, so this is me doing that. But like I've loved. Thank you, Zach. Yeah. Well, I wasn't on when it came out, and I didn't get to review it, and I get to talk about it. I did post about it a lot though on the NVC Facebook group, but yeah, I've loved this game. It's been so much fun. I'm trying to stick with it. It's it makes working out a lot easier. Like once you get going, turning on the game is still like I'd rather lay down. But then once I get going, like it's way easier to do that workout in my opinion than the workout videos that I normally do. It is a little bit less rigorous than some of the workout videos I would do, but it feels like less of a
Can't you
drag.
choose to like do like an extreme mode or like a medium mode? Or
You can. The reason that I say it's less rigorous is typically the workout videos I would do would be like, shout out to Bloglotties on YouTube. Like they're like a lot shorter because the reps are a lot faster and more intense. So I like would work harder in the videos I traditionally do personally than like Ring Fit, where it's a lot more form focused and slower, which I actually like.
Stops you
It's
from
better.
some of the battles.
Yeah,
and-
because it helps you like get good form because it's not about going quickly; it's about doing the exercise well, which I appreciate.
That's cool. So it's doing well in Japan, by the way.
Cool.
It didn't just pop up into the into the top slots in its opening week. It sold another 68,000 units.
Nice.
Which I think was number 2 or number 3 on the list in Japan. So it's doing really well in Japan. We'll see when we see NPD numbers if they have another Wii Fit or if people are too lazy to play this. But if you're holding out because you think there's not enough game there, it's actually really charmingly created and well put together.
Yeah, I'm playing
It's a better game than Wii Fit.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from a lot of people that have played Wii Fit.
Yeah.
I played about 40 minutes. I almost said 40 hours. I played about 40 minutes at a time, and I feel like I'm going to be playing this for months before I finish it.
There's a lot of content there.
Interesting.
Zach, what have you been playing?
Yeah, I've been playing some Dragon Quest XI S Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch. That game is amazing. I know I've talked about it on like every episode of NVC. I've been playing it in a way that's like almost like episode arcs of a TV show in that like you'll get to a new town, there will be a quest to do in that town, you'll do that thing, and then I'll take a break and move on to something else and play that for a little while. I've been playing a lot of the Outer Worlds, which is not on Switch yet. But will be on Switch. And man, that game is amazing.
It's really nice.
It is incredible.
It's on Game Pass if you have Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass. It's on PlayStation and PC. And if it is a passable edition when it comes to the Switch, it's going to be an awesome game on the Switch because it's essentially just like somewhere between Fallout and Mass Effect and Knights of the Old Republic, and it's so funny and so smart, and I really love it. So hopefully they make some announcement about when that's coming to Switch.
Yeah, if it's not on your radar, it's from the developers Obsidian
New Vegas,
Fallout New Vegas, but many members of the team worked on the original Fallout before it became a Bethesda franchise and got rebooted with 3, and they also worked on Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Yeah,
and so it does have that kind of sense of humor, kind of like that gallows humor.
Yeah, it's
of
really
Fallout
funny.
Game. It's set in a really colorful world, like this. You're in outer space. You're with like crazy Technicolor skies and crazy creatures and just very humorous situations and
like,
a lot of scumbag.
Artistically, it looks like art design wise, like it looks almost like a little bit like BioShock in space.
It does have some BioShock elements.
Man, it is an awesome game. I'm really loving my time with that. Not out on Switch yet, but hopefully soon.
Put it on your radar
Eventually.
as a most wanted for Switch if that's a competent port, like Dragon Quest, which is a really competent port.
I would say that the difference between Outer Worlds and Dragon Quest is that the Outer Worlds will be a scaled down version for the Switch, whereas Dragon Quest XI S is like, they say it's the definitive version because there are so many enhancements to that game. Digital Foundry did an awesome breakdown of like all the differences and changes, both graphically and non-graphically in Dragon Quest XI S. And if you're on the fence about that game, take a look at that video.
Just very clever, good explanation of how they got this game to actually run and look similar,
which is amazing,
to the
incredible,
much more powerful console version.
And then lastly, I finally finished Link's Awakening. I was taking my time working my way through that, and I have to say, like, still a very important game to me, still very special, still a game that I hold very near and dear to my heart. Not my favorite game in 2018 or 2019.
I'd like you and Brian to have a debate.
Yeah, I know he told me to hold off until he and I could be on the show together, but our schedules are so like kind of random these days. But like, I feel like that game is really wonderful, really charming, but like really weird in 2019 in that like as a Zelda game, it's weird because there's no like there's no real thread there. Whereas like Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds, like you're jumping back and forth between these two worlds. Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, like you're jumping back and forth between these two times, right?
Or more.
Yeah, or more. Twilight Princess, same deal. Wind Waker, same deal. But Link's Awakening is just kind of like, well, okay, here's your path, do these 8 dungeons. And honestly, like in 2019, those last 3 dungeons are not fun. Like I don't think that they're fun. I don't think that they're super well designed.
I enjoyed it a lot. I really like the game. It's not my game of the year, actually. This year where we had Fire Emblem, and Fire Emblem was a better game.
I think I'd be hard pressed to put it even in my top 10 this year. Like I really love that game. Like I have the owl tattooed on my arm from when I was a kid, but like playing it now is just, like, I didn't get the tattoo.
Yeah, I was like, you got a tattoo when you were a child.
But playing it now is like
tap me up and just pull up to
I think that there's a right way to do like a from the ground up remake, and this to me just feels like a new coat of paint on a very 1993 game.
I think they walk that fine line between remaking something and like leaving it
the addition
for people who remember.
The addition of that's the thing is like I remembered everything really well until I got to like the last like 2 dungeons, and the ability to tag stuff on the map is great, but those last dungeons are just cumbersome. Like by the time you get halfway through the dungeon and then you realize like, oh, I didn't flip this switch to the correct thing. I got to track all the way back and flip the switch again. It's like, Like that just feels ancient by today's
true. And
standards.
some of the puzzles aren't as well designed as A Link to the Past. Remember, A Link to the Past used a lot of spatial stuff where you push a block into a hole and it falls onto the floor below, right? This one is much simpler, and sometimes switching a switch doesn't actually do anything of consequence either, other than like unblocking your path. Whereas like Link to the Past definitely is a more complex and better game, but this is a handheld. This is a Game Boy port, right?
Yeah.
It's a game that was.
Well, and it feels like a Game Boy game.
A feat to pull off on the Game Boy, just like the original Legend of Zelda was a feat on the NES with the multi-screen setup. So, I really enjoyed it, but I hear you. It definitely has some warts.
Yeah, I think artistically, I think, even tonally, the game is really brilliant. I think for what it did for the Zelda franchise, in that it encouraged it to be very weird. Like, I think every Zelda game after Link's Awakening takes a big note from like, oh, we can be really weird with these games and people will still enjoy it. I think it's important, and I really still like hold the game near and dear to my heart. I was just kind of surprised. Like, I played through the last 2 dungeons and the final bosses and stuff this weekend, and I was surprised at how many times I was like, oh, this sucks. Like, this isn't, I'm not having fun playing this part. Like, yeah.
Man. Anything else you want to crap on?
No, I mean, I know people are going to come after me in the comments for that. And like,
I don't think so. I think people realize that there are issues
but it's like
with the game because of its age.
The floor layer in the last dungeon where you have to like fill in the floor gaps to get the keys and stuff. 30 attempts at that?
Really?
I saw your tweet about that.
Ugh, sucked.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
I had
unfun.
no problem with that. I saw you post about that.
Yeah.
Like, it took me a second to figure out the controls, and then I'm like, oh, now I get it, and I could do
Yeah.
it really easily every time.
I mean, I feel like it's funny because like I tweeted about it and half of the comments were like, oh, you're just bad at this. But then the other half were like, yeah, I was also stuck here for half an hour. Or like, oh, that made me want to throw my Switch across the room. Like, it's just like there's little things that I feel
Hold
like
the direction.
Yeah, I feel like there's little things about that game that Nintendo of all developers should have seen and been like, oh, this doesn't work in 2019. This needs to be fixed. Like, yeah.
Janet?
I mean, I'm basically just playing Ring Fit Adventure. I'm still like replaying portions of Luigi's Mansion 3.
Great.
But that's basically it. I'm looking forward to, no offense to Luigi's Mansion 3. I've loved my time with it. I'm ready to play a game that is not Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah.
So let's move on to everyone's favorite game that we're all going to play today right now, which is the Spooky edition of Question Block.
That's not a game.
Spooky edition of Question Block with some regular Question Block questions thrown in.
Sure.
This first question is from Emmanuel Luvano. Yeah, Luvano. What's the worst scare you've had with a Nintendo console not working? For example, there's a blackout in my house a couple of years ago, and when an electricity came back, my Wii U would not turn on. I unplugged and plugged back everything, and the HDMI port had busted. I had a component Wii cable that did work, but had to send the console in for repairs.
My scariest moment was 2 weeks ago when I got the Disney Tsum Tsum Switch Special Edition. I brought it to work. When you take them out of the box, sometimes they got like 15% charge on it or something. And I plugged it in here, put it in the cradle here, and had it update to the latest firmware. And then it just wouldn't turn on. Like after minutes. I'm like, oh, like, first of all, I noticed it was off, and I'm trying to turn it on, it doesn't turn on. I was like, oh, no. And at that moment, I was like, this is an import from Japan, brought it back. How do you even get a replacement from a vendor like this far away? Luckily, it was one of those moments where a very hard reset, we're talking, what is it, like 12 seconds of holding the power button down would reboot it and snap it out of it. But like no, like plugging in wouldn't charge, nothing does anything.
That recently happened. That recently happened to my Switch at work as well. It was charging, it was fine. It was at 50% when I plugged it in, and then I went to go use it, and it just would not turn on.
Yeah.
I remember I went over to Tom in like a panic, like, what do I do?
Yeah, I think a lot of Switch owners may run into that. So if that ever happens, don't panic. Hold down the power button. It is a very long time to count till 12 or 15 or whatever you need to do. But glad yours fixed itself.
Yeah, it's fine now. Yeah.
When I first got my GameCube, I bought it for Wind Waker, and my buddy, I had bought it, and he had come over that night, and we were just gonna like play Wind Waker all night. We were like so excited to play it, and I had my GameCube set up on the TV stand in my living room, and he got up to like get a drink or something and tripped over the controller cable and pulled the GameCube off of the stand, and it like hit the deck, and the disc inside had come off of the like actual disc holder, And so like, first of all, it scratched the disc all up, which I thought was going to be terrible. But then secondly, I couldn't get it to turn off. Like the system was just like, it was just like a frozen screen of Zelda music on a loop. And like, I couldn't get the system to turn off. And like, we had lost like a bunch of progress and stuff in the game. And I was so mad. And then finally, like I just unplugged it and it like hard reset. But yeah, that was a bummer. That was scary. Yeah.
I wonder if that drink was worth it.
I mean, it was probably like a Pepsi, so probably so. Yeah.
I think
Not
we
sponsored
broke
by
a
Pepsi.
hinge on one of the DSs too at my house, but it wasn't me. It was one of my kids.
That sounds
Remember the
about right.
big fatties, the silver ones? Yeah.
Chunky boy.
They had bad hinges.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those lights have bad hinges still too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they came up with that slab one.
Yeah.
The 2DS slab, the
wedge.
doorstop. Yeah.
Door silence.
The only thing that comes to mind, I don't know if I had anything when I was younger. Also, so many times tripping over cords and almost breaking consoles. Like, that was an awful time. But when I got my Switch, like at launch, I did a midnight launch. Like, I went to GameStop, got it, brought it home. We wanted to play right away because, like, what's the point of doing a midnight launch if you're not going to play that night for at least a little bit? So we opened it up and I slid on the Joy-Con grip without looking at it because I figured, Nintendo.
Put the wrong one on.
I did the same thing.
Nintendo wouldn't. I figured I didn't need to look at it. Here's why I thought I could just leave it. I'm like, Nintendo wouldn't make it so that I could mess this up because that would be bad design. They did make it so you can mess it up. So I put them on. Like, I'm sure a lot of people have done this, where the minus to the
Upside
plus,
down,
upside
yeah.
down. I didn't know what
So
to do,
painful.
and it feels really hard to like take it off too, because not only is it not, it's not on correctly, so it's like weirdly fitted, and I didn't know what to do because I was worried I'd break it. It was the only controller I had. I didn't buy like a pro controller or anything, so I was like, no, I can't. It's like midnight. What am I gonna do? So I just looked up on YouTube like, you know, how to fix Joy-Con strap put on backwards, and some YouTube video from Australia like came up, and they're like, hey, because they got theirs before like the US one. They're like, if you mess this up, here's what you have to do. And they just like, basically you just have to slide in the opposite direction. Using a knife or like a little like thing to wedge it is also really good. It seems scary because you feel like you might break it, but it pops off and slides off really, really easily. And since then, I like never make that mistake again. I've brought my Switch also, like I used to teach high school, and I brought my Switch for my students who were high schoolers and some middle schoolers to use. And one of the first things I said was, make sure you look at it. If you slide it on, if you have a question, let me know, because like, don't mess up my stuff. And like, of course someone messed it up and they were freaking out.
So,
and I'm like,
it's so weird. It seems like they shouldn't have designed it this way.
Yeah, I assume they
The easiest
wouldn't.
way I found, because I have a lot of Joy-Con. I've done this a few times, or had this happen in my house. You put the Joy-Con grip on the edge of a table and you just push down on the controller, and
smart,
it comes
yeah.
off really easily. You just need a little bit of
Leverage.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
yeah, that was scary.
I was bringing my Nintendo 64 to my neighbor's house so we could play Mario Party, and I was trying to get the controllers and the games and the thing in my backpack all at once, and went down the stairs, and then I dropped my Nintendo 64 down the stairs. It was totally fine.
Yeah.
Like I
Can't be
went over
destroyed.
there,
Yeah,
plugged it in.
So indestructible.
The
It was
Nintendo,
fine.
yeah, I was gonna say the Nintendo 64 is a tank. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just completely fine. And then also my Nintendo DS, the touchscreen calibration was just off, and I could not fix it. And it was literally a month after warranty, and I was so worried. And I called, I like put on hold, and I was listening to Star Fox music while waiting.
Good luck.
And they took my Nintendo DS and fixed it, even though it was after warranty, for free.
Oh.
So yeah, all good news all around. Oh, also my cat, man, I have a lot of these stories. This is a bad ending. My cat knocked over my Wii U while it was on, and it stopped reading discs after that.
Oh, bummer.
Luckily, there were no more new games coming out for the Wii U after that happened. So I just had to play Smash at another person's
All my
house.
original systems still work. All my original Nintendo systems. I've had 5 360s Ring of Red Light on me.
Damn. 5?
Yeah, crazy, right?
They're all buried outside.
But,
I had
one-
But the our Wii makes sounds like a freaking jet fighter. It's like
That's crazy.
It's not doing well.
So next question is from Ben Fraser, who's in Japan, who wrote into us on NVC at IGN.com. And he says, I've been resistant into jumping into the Pokemon series,
Oh, here we go.
Oh, God.
most because I rarely even come close to finishing games on handhelds.
Now a 2-hour
basically, long story short, he's baffled about the difference between the two versions, and if there is a difference between the two titles, or should he just go with his gut. So I thought I would just take this opportunity with Pokemon Sword and Shield coming out right around the corner to just tell you the differences between the two
Yay.
games. So
Which we also have in our wiki page.
yeah. So if you go to our wiki page, if you search IGN Pokemon Sword and Shield version differences, it should come up. But the basics is that in Sword, you will get Zacian, which is the wolf with the sword, the legendary first. And you'll also get Sirfetch'd, and you'll get the fighting type gym leader, Bea.
That's a chicken with a leak.
Yes, pretty much. And then for Shield, you'll get Zamazenta and Galarian Ponyta and the ghost type gym leader, Alistar. There are actually 7 different lines of exclusive Pokemon. You can look at all of them on our page, but these are the most important ones. And also, you will get your box art legendary before the Elite Four normally, but you can still get the opposite versions legendary usually after the credits roll.
Yeah, you can always trade for exclusive Pokemon.
Yep, you can
What's
always
your
trade.
recommendation? Like when you look, like your personal preference?
If I am self-contained and had no one to trade with, I would get Shield.
Okay. Too bad I got Sword.
So I'm probably still going to get Shield, honestly, because I think I like the ghost type. I think ghost type gym leader is kind of cool.
All right.
So yeah,
I'll probably do Shield because
That's
I want the magic horse.
yeah. I want the magic horse.
Yeah,
Zach
but
also wants a magic horse.
No,
might
I've
be waiting
decided
to
I'm
see
not
other
going to
ones.
play this game.
That's
Actually,
yeah, you
bunch
did.
of baloney.
no.
I saw your tweet. This is the tweet where you.
I just don't
same
have
tweet with what was the last game?
Fire Emblem,
Fire
but I
Emblem.
don't have time for another like 150
Yeah.
plus hour investment this year.
it's not
Like,
that long.
what if you
It's
break
like,
both
it's
of
like
your
50,
legs?
60.
why would you say that?
No, it could happen. Like all the cables here.
You know what, Pear? I hope you break both of your legs.
Yeah, then I would play Pokemon.
Fair enough.
Also, I found it interesting that I interviewed Masuda and Omori like a few weeks ago, and that went
la-di-da.
live last week on the site. And when I asked him about this, Masuda said that he would choose Pokemon Sword because he wants to fight is it fighting type?
Yeah,
the
the
gym leader. And then Omori chose Shield because he wanted the legendary. So I just thought, someone could be like really like negative and be like, they probably just each chose a different one, because PR or something. But I thought it was cool that they had like different reasoning. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's what matters most to you and pick based on that. And then some people also do like the cutesy thing where it's like, oh, I'll get this one. My sibling will get like the other one, or my boyfriend or girlfriend or partner will get the other one. So I think those are traditionally how people go about picking. But at the end of the day, the experience honestly is not very different.
Yeah.
I'm usually like when my kids sometimes gravitate towards the same version, so that's frustrating. So I always pick the other one.
Aw, that's very
know.
nice.
That's so considerate.
And maybe you just think swords are cooler than shields,
right.
or vice versa. So you can just pick based on that. So next spooky question from Shay McCulloch. Have you ever played a Nintendo game that scared you as a kid and made it hard to continue playing? For me, it was the Ocarina of Time Re-Dead Screams of Terror. And
I've heard a lot of people say that the Re-Deads freaked them out.
no,
when they were
same thing.
kids.
As
Yeah.
soon
They
as I
were
became
scary.
adult Link and went out into that plaza, I just immediately like put down my controller and went and got my dad, and I was like, I need an adult.
Because he freezes in place. Like
Yes.
they don't just scream and come after you. You can't move.
Spooks you.
And then they grab you and go, bow, bow,
Yeah.
bow.
You know what they call that? Danger zone.
Danger zone. That's what it's called.
No, it was terrifying. Same thing when I went to go get the Sun Song, and that whole area was just full of Re-Deads, and I was waiting for my dad to come, and he was like, I'll
sweet
get there
payback.
eventually. And I ended up doing it myself because I got impatient waiting for my dad to come save
That's
me.
probably what he was holding out for.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe if I just wait a little longer, she won't
I
notice.
feel like there's the creepy Gyptos and Majora's Mask too.
Yeah.
That area, that whole valley is kind of creepy.
Very
But I
creepy.
feel
That moon is kinda
Nintendo
scary.
hasn't made a game that is like really scary.
Silicon Knights
Oh, well,
did,
Silicon Knights did,
Eternal
yeah.
Darkness. Like published by Nintendo. Like that was gonna be my pick. Like the the save error glitch like joke really freaked me out when I was playing that as a kid. I remember like really losing my mind that I had lost all my save data and then being like, oh no, this is what this game does.
If you don't know Eternal Darkness, as your character gets more insane, like your insanity meter literally fills up, the game will break the fourth wall and mess with you.
Yeah.
One thing is it'll pretend like it's turning down the volume on your TV. It'll show like
Like a
the
volume
most
bar?
common display of the time, like a green volume
Yeah.
bar going like empty. You're like, what? Am I sitting on the remote? It'll have like a reflection in the screen of someone. It does all these things which are just
It was
like
really
it'll
cool.
do like the tube TV like and like turn off.
Yeah. So and then the save file error was that was a really mean one, but it did have some genuinely like creepy moments.
Yeah.
Creepy vibe with some scare effects as well.
I couldn't finish it. I was too
The
scared.
grand piano in Super Mario 64.
Wow, that was scary.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That was they did a little surprise in it's a weak ghost house for Mario series game, but you walk by the piano, it'll try and chomp you, and like you don't expect it. I thought that was.
I forgot
good.
about that guy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It makes a like a
kind of like the
Yeah, there's
dissonant
not.
chords.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like scary Nintendo games, as has already been said. But I would say, as a kid, I was always really like scared and like anxious over boss battles because I started playing games when I was like 5, and like the thought of it being like the equivalent of like a game exam where it's like everything you did doesn't matter. Can you kill this thing? And it wasn't even hard to kill the thing, but I would always stress out about it. Like sometimes I would make my brother do it for me. A lot of times he'd be like, "No, you have to do it. You have to get over this. You can do it." You just walk around and pick him up. I'm like, "I can't. He's moving too fast," and I would just freak out. So other than like that. Not really anything. I mean, the first time I saw Resident Evil was on the GameCube, and that game scared me. Like
that game is
scary.
So
still scary.
I didn't play it, but I like watched my brother play it a lot, and it was just like super creepy. So that's my Nintendo scary memory.
That game was extra scary because they messed with the player where they changed certain elements around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had played the original and I played the remake, and there's that character that follows you.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
Lisa Trevor, or all the redheads.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think it was one of the first games I played that had the QuickTime events, and I was not
a fan.
Anticipating them at all.
Yeah,
So
you
I
put the controller down, then you're like, pick it up.
it was like the giant like fish or something in the lake, and like just, it got
Let's
me.
go to the phones for a second and check whether let's talk to some fans who really like QuickTime events.
Hello. Oh, no one there.
That's it.
Got
Okay,
it.
all right.
Cool.
Let's move on.
Oh no. So, can I have another Pokemon question?
Sure.
Yeah, so I feel like we got off pretty easy this week.
You guys are asking us questions. I'm just answering.
I saw somebody left us some negative reviews on
Zach.
iTunes. Did you see that? Somebody left us some
we talk
negative-
about Pokemon
because
too
we
much?
talked about Pokemon too much. If you enjoy the show, leave us a review, and we absolutely read feedback too. But it wasn't that much Pokemon. Come on.
No, and this is a Halloween question. It's from Sam Shoemaker.
Isn't that funny?
He says, "Which Pokemon would be the scariest to meet in real life?"
Haunter, obviously. He's haunting.
Yeah.
And his lick attack paralyzes things.
Yeah.
So
Licky tongue.
Oh, you don't like
no.
that?
Also from Detective Pikachu.
I didn't
that
like
thing
him.
looked creepy.
I didn't like him like as a real
you look
Pokemon.
into its beady little eyes, and you also that thing's killed some
I also
people.
feel like Slowpoke. There's something wrong with that thing.
I kind of like
there
Slowpoke.
are a lot of ghost type Pokemon that are legitimately scary. Like there's this whole side quest in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon about a Drifloon, and the lore of that is that it takes away children's souls. So there's that.
Are we
There's
safe
also,
because we're adults? Or can anyone catch?
I don't know.
these
You're
balloon
cosplaying
hands?
as a squid kid, so like,
Yeah. Or are they all kids? I thought that was like a colloquialism.
maybe it is.
Is Pearl a child? No, they're adults.
They're
teenagers.
adults.
Yeah, when they're old
Yeah.
enough to like drink and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. One's like 21, one's like 19.
There's another Pokemon called Yamask, and the description in Y is each of them carries a mask that used to be its face when it was human. Sometimes they look at it and
Sick.
cry. And these Pokemon arose from the spirits of people interred in graves. Each retains memories of its former life. And like sometimes you see them.
spooky,
It's just a
dog.
mask. I don't know. They're just like a lot of really spooky ghost.
I love the
Pokemon.
scary, creepy ghost Pokemon. I think the scariest Pokemon to me would be probably the one that could do me the most danger. So like maybe Onix or Snorlax, like a large one that could step on me. That'd probably be the scariest one.
Charizard. I'm only 5'7".
But I thought Charizard would I don't know. I feel like we'd be friends. Like
What's going on now?
it's like Gen 1.
We're just talking about
don't know.
it. It's okay. We can move on. From Edwin Garcia. What's your favorite candy?
Snickers.
Really?
Oh yeah, hands down.
Oh, for
That's my
me,
go-to
it's-
candy for if I want something
Yeah.
filling, but it's not my favorite.
Snickers. For
You're
life.
not gonna know mine. I'm not gonna say licorice because it makes you guys angry.
Oh.
But Red Band, this Dutch company makes
Great trailers.
Makes these smileys, these colorful gummy smileys, and they're just the best thing. Shout out to our Dutch listeners out there. Red Band, little
kind of-
sour sticks and smileys and stuff. They're the best.
I would go with like Sour Patch Kids, or I really like the Airhead Extremes, like the like stringy rainbow sour candy. Yeah, be mine.
I really like different flavored Kit Kats, like the green tea Kit Kats and like all those
Green tea.
Did you try the
flavors.
jalapeno one?
I would never. I hate spicy stuff.
Oh, I see.
But also German raspberries. I don't know why they're
the
called
Haribo
that.
ones. Yeah, they make
but
the blackberries and the raspberries.
yeah, I like those a lot.
Yeah.
And lastly, from Sean Lopez, do you like candy corn?
No.
No.
I like candy corn.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I like candy corn. It used to be my
No.
favorite. when I was
You're a
little
candy
kid.
corn sympathizer?
From is it
It's just sugar.
Tears.
It's just pure sugar. It's just different.
hydrogenated corn syrup?
awful.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was made so parents who didn't let their kids have candy could be like, fine, it's not that great. They gave them the candy corn. They're like, see, we weren't lying. Candy's
It's like
not very
teeth.
good. Yeah,
No.
it's not. How would you know that, Pear? How would you know what teeth taste like?
Because we all lost
We-
teeth
they're-
at one point.
I mean,
Did you
teeth-
swallow the tooth you lost?
I mean, their teeth in our mouth at all times. So you're saying that candy corn just tastes like
no,
the inside
they
of your
taste
mouth?
like baby teeth that came out.
I don't like
Pear,
know
this is you're getting into a weird territory here.
Candy
Hey, why'd
corn-
you?
Pear
candy
is the
corn
scariest
not for
Pokemon to
consumption.
encounter.
I feel like whoever made candy corn, Mr. C Corn, whatever, had stuff lying around and wanted to get rid of it, and he's like, "I'll just paint these things and it'll be fine."
So now you can ponder why Pear knows what baby teeth taste like, and with that,
So
we will
weird.
end
That
our
was like one of
Halloween
the weirdest
episode
things
of
you've ever
Nintendo
said.
Voice Chat.
The truth
Very
is,
strange.
I am the Tooth Fairy.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, why'd you bring that
Heard it
spaghetti?
here
That's where all
first.
that GM money came from.
Go watch Alien again.
So hey, guys, thank you so much for
Oh.
joining me for the Halloween episode and for being good sports about the costumes. Pear, where can they find you?
At my house
At
with
your house.
electricity this weekend.
Finally.
Playing
That's-
lots of games.
Wow, look at you.
And on Twitter, Pear IGN.
What about you, Zach?
Danger Zone.
That's not right.
And also my Twitter handle is @ZachariasD.
Yep. And you can find me at ShinyKCD.
And my handle on everything is GameOnesis.
Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can listen or watch NVC IGN's Nintendo podcast every Thursday at 3 p.m., which may change eventually because of the way that we get games, but we'll let you know if and when that happens. You can also find us on IGN.com and your preferred podcasting platform. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, this is the only place you can.
Get the candy.
Thing.